and welcome to the Chronicles of Yarnia, the podcast from Montclair's local yarn store. I am Jen, and I'm here with a very special guest to talk a little bit about temperature blankets. This is Cara, aka January 1. So say hi.
Hi everybody. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
I have so much to say.
We've just been chatting for a little bit beforehand, so I've gotten a preview of what you guys are going to see, and it's super, super awesome. But why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, where we can find you on the internet?
Okay, so I'm Cara, and I used to blog at January1.com, but now pretty much I'm just on Instagram at January1. So it's like at January_ONE.
Yeah,
all spelled out. I'm very local, like literally I live down the block.
She's like right there.
And it's so great that you guys are here because for a long time we didn't have any yarn stores at all.
There was a big dry spell.
Big dry spell. Like at one time we had 4 and then we had none. Yeah. So it's so awesome that you guys are here, and you have made just an amazing yarn store. So I have to say that.
We love it.
And what else can I tell you? I don't know. My grandmother taught me to knit like I think 20 years ago now. And basically for the longest time all I did was ever knit, but now since the pandemic I kind of lost knitting and I learned how to crochet. And I learned how to embroider. And I took up spinning again.
So wait, that was all within the pandemic?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did not crochet before the pandemic at all. Yeah, it was very weird. It happened like, I don't know, maybe it was like some psychic thing because I had written up a knitting mitten pattern, which never came out, but it's maybe soon. And I had knit like 8 pairs of mittens in like a 6-week period or something like that. And I was like, oh, I can't knit ever again. I'm done. And I was like, okay, finally I'm going to learn how to make a granny square blanket because I've always wanted to crochet and, you know, I just never did. And I went out, literally this was maybe 2 weeks before we shut down.
Wow.
Bought like some Barocco vintage.
Oh yeah.
Which I ended up not liking for crochet.
Is
I think it's too splitty.
Yeah.
It was very splitty for me and I don't like splitty yarn. But then I came here.
Yay.
And I bought a gazillion of knitted weight DK gumballs.
Which is fantastic for crochet.
Took it home.
Such a great texture.
Started crochet, learned how to crochet, and then went like absolutely berserk. And in that first year, I think I crocheted 4 huge blankets.
Dang.
4 or 5? 4. And then what happened was that, you know, as the year went on, I was like, and I started seeing all these temperature blankets, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it in crochet. And, you know, it just was such, I swear it's one of the best things I've ever done. Yeah. I don't know, I mean, I have a lot of theories as to why it was one of my favorite projects of all time ever, and I think a lot of it has to do with the pandemic and has to do with how in these last few years, and this is before the pandemic too, I've been really into like daily practices and like long-term projects in that you work on something a little bit each day and it becomes this bigger thing. And I don't know, it just tapped into something in me that needed it, still needs it.
Yes.
And it just really worked out fabulously.
I love it. There's something about like the passage of time in the pandemic has been so weird. Yes. And so like it's both been forever and also it feels like a second ago. Yes. Like I can still remember what I did like the day that I remember the conversation I was having with my son's kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
The day that they sent everything home. And it feels like that was yesterday, but it also has been 2.5 years. So I feel like there's something in that like daily repetitive.
Oh my God, it's about to be 3 years in March,
isn't that insane?
Wait, no, is that true?
Yeah.
No, it's 2 years.
2020.
2 years.
2 years. 2 years.
Oh my God. Okay.
Math is not my strong suit. And also, this is what we're talking about, right? Like the passage of time is
it's just so weird. Look,
so
I turned 50 right before the pandemic. Like, so January 1st, 2020, I turned 50 years old, and I do believe that I somehow ripped a seam in the universe or something. And that was it. That was the end. I started the end. But anyway.
You and Bowie and Prince.
Exactly. So, yeah, they at least, well, they died. I just turned 50, but it's similar.
They were holding the fabric of the universe together, and then you turning 50 ripped it?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But, like, I it's so weird because I just turned 52. But, like, I'm still stuck
You're still
back.
50.
Yeah, I never got
50.
to have my, like, fabulous 50 year, and I don't know. It just was weird. I did get to take a vacation right
really?
before. Oh,
Thank God.
just my husband and I, we went away right at the beginning, right at January. We left on the 2nd.
You got it in right under the wire.
Seriously, I've been living off that for 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years.
Seriously.
This is what happens. You've been living off of that and temperature blankets. Or temperature projects, because we shouldn't say
yes.
blankets. It's not 100%.
It doesn't have to be a blanket.
Blanket.
You do not have to have a blanket. All right.
Well, and I also have to tell you, because your temperature blankets totally inspired me last year, where I was like, I'm going to do a temperature blanket. I got as far as February. I mean, I have in my notebook, all of the temperatures. I ended up doing averages. I have the average daily temperature for Montclair for the entire year of last year.
You did Montclair.
I did Montclair.
Where'd you get the info from?
I got it from weather.com, and then I went to a very specific site. Did I write it down? Yeah, I went for Montclair average temperature range, and I did not close that tab all year.
Are you kidding me? I've been using Newark Airport.
Oh, see, I plugged in my zip code, and then because there's a weather station in...
there's a bunch of them. There's one in Bloomfield, too.
Yes.
Right. But in the end, I used Newark, which, I mean, it's 9 miles from me.
It's close enough.
And I was like, it's fine.
It's close enough.
It'll work.
Yeah.
And then I just kept going with Newark. Because I tried to get...
Be consistent.
And I use wonderground.com. W-U-N.
Yes. Weather Underground.
Yes, but
it's Wonderground.
Wonderground. And I really like... Oh, I don't even have it. I should have printed it out. I get like this monthly chart.
Ooh.
So I can just go...
So you can go and you can just look at the dates.
Just look at the dates. And I get the whole month at a shot, because what I ended up doing was not working on it every day.
Oh,
but
smart.
We can talk about that.
So let's talk about... What's the one... Do you have the one that kicked it all off?
This is the one that kicked it all off.
Okay.
It's so...
Oh, it's so... I'm sorry, look at this. Look at how absolutely gorgeous this is.
And then you see the other end.
Oh. And it's such a nice weight.
Yeah, so this is knitted with DK.
Love it.
And Laura Jean has just been absolutely amazing. I mean, literally...
Is she not the best?
She's the best. And we were like, so I have all her color cards.
Smart.
And honestly,
she has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of colors.
Well, I think I had to go through 9. Well, I didn't go through any of the variegateds. I only did the solids.
So you only did the solids?
Yes. And, this is an investment in money, it's not just time, because the yarn is not, I mean, rightly so, it's not cheap yarn. So, I went through with her, I picked out I was doing a traditional rainbow for this project. I should have brought my color card for this one, but so I did it, a pretty traditional rainbow, and I also went with like the traditional blues for cold, reds for hot. It was so funny because when I got to the end, this is the end of this is like December and November, and I was getting so upset with the damn weather because it wasn't getting...
It's not cold enough.
Cold.
No. It was
In fact, I have a funny story about this. So it wasn't getting cold, and I was really upset because I was really looking forward to having the balance of going back to the blues. And I also, I'm so special, but I thought it had, such a Gustav Klimt feel of, the kiss with, the gold in the middle.
And kind of that mosaic
and the blues, on the ends and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I was really bummed that it was not getting... cold enough. But I do think that the shift did happen.
It definitely happened, but I can totally see how if you're looking at up here, right, where you've got a good chunk of blue and then it goes into the warm.
Yes.
And then you're like, okay, there's a little bit of blue.
I mean, I have the greens. It does change to the warms.
It goes from cool to warm.
Why do I have these oranges on
for this day? Right?
This is this here. This is 60s.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Anyway.
You're like, hey, climate change.
Exactly.
Here we go.
What's funny is, about this, is that when I went to do my 2022 blanket, when I went to start that, I was like, all right, I'm shifting my colors. Because you can see here, this.
So, in each...
So this color, right? This very, very, I don't know if you can see it so well, but this very, very, like, light pink.
Right there.
It's in the middle of this one. It's in the middle of this one. Okay, that's my lowest color, which in 2021, I made 19 degrees and below.
Okay.
Okay. I used that color 4 times.
Wow.
The entire year. I don't know if you can find...
1, 2.
I don't know where else. I mean, it was always the low temperature.
So you did low...
Oh, here's one.
So there's 3.
And then there's one more somewhere.
Right there.
Oh, here. That's it. That's the only time that color gets used.
So the center is the low.
The center is the low. The middle ring... here, let's find a better one. Here. The center is the low. The middle ring is the average. And the outer ring is the high temperature.
And then you edged it.
I edged it. Okay, so if you can tell, there's 4 different colors. Laura Jean Knitted Wit dyed me a gradient. So there's 4 different colors for the background.
So we have a dark gray.
There's like a dark, then there's like
a mid-dark.
The next color in the gradient. Then up here is the
3.
Actually, it's opposite. This was 4, this was 3, this was 2, and then this was the lightest 1. That was how my skeins were labeled. I didn't even have a name.
I love it.
Thank
Ray,
you,
1,
Jean.
2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. And actually there's a 0, and the 0 is used, like you can see here, for marking off the solstices and the equinoxes. But anyway, I decided that the backgrounds would switch by the amount of daylight in the sky, which is actually very hard to figure out
there's
scientifically.
There's no sight, is there?
No, you can look and see like how many daylight hours there are.
Ooh.
But like, and I tried to look at the actual numbers and be like, okay, where's the mid-range here? And I'm going to cut it off. And it was just like, because it will jump from 10 hours to 11 hours. Like, it's very weird. So in the end, what I decided to do was, in my mind, I thought, okay, well, the winter solstice is the shortest day, but the days have been getting shorter all along leading up to it, and then they're still kind of short, a few weeks after. So I decided that I would change the color, the background color for daylight, basically mid-season.
Okay.
So, I think it was ended up becoming around the 4th or 5th of, like, August 5th.
Yeah.
And, November 5th. Like, something like that.
So something like
March 5th or whatever. Or
30 or 40 days after the
it was like February 5th.
Like
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it was, just so, like, midway. And that's...
So that would be, like, here... Where
right,
it goes
so
from the dark to the lighter.
At the beginning, you can see there's only 2 rows of the dark, because I'm pretty sure I switched it around February 5th.
Yeah. Which makes sense, actually, if you think about it, because winter is kind of split over, And then by the time you get to spring, it's already light. Yeah.
So it's, the darkest time is actually like November to February, as opposed to...
Going downhill.
Right. As opposed to, like January, December through March. So that's how I did that. And
you can see it here too. You can see the color change.
Yeah. And I tried to like choose which, obviously I took the darkest color for winter, and then I took the next darkest color for fall, and the lightest color was summer, and the next lightest color was...
So this is kind of a very, like, traditional approach, right? This is the way that you see a lot of temperature blankets with, like, a Roy G. Biv palette.
Yes, absolutely. The rainbow and, yes, absolutely.
Dark to light, cool to warm.
Absolutely.
But totally. It's amazing how, and especially if you look at, like, the temperature blanket hashtag on Instagram, you can see there are some that are very, like, crayon-y, bright palettes. There are these, which is, like, such a sophisticated rainbow... Oh my gosh, I love this coral color right here.
Oh my god, some of these colors are...
me. I love it.
Some of these colors are just
Because Laura Jean is magic.
She really is.
She's
I mean,
magical.
her color sense. We just talk rainbows all day long.
Oh,
Her and Shannon and I have
yeah.
a group chat that's called Over the Rainbow because all we do is talk about rainbows. This color, this is like
that peachy.
Yes, I love that color.
I don't know if you can see the outer ring. Oh, gorgeous.
I should list them somewhere. This is
You should.
Rainbow Milkshake. No, this is
Raspberry milkshake.
No, this is like
Coffee
No. This is carnelian.
Ooh.
But also
Nice.
too, like this is carnelian. Like sometimes they dye. You know, like that's another thing. You
hand
wanna,
dyes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this too. So I am pretty sure that there was only 1 or 2 skeins that I needed to break into. Actually, maybe only one. I think maybe this one. That I needed to break into a second skein.
Okay. And how many? So your temperature ranges for this?
This is 17 different colors.
Okay.
And I was like, didn't mess around with anything. It was 5 degree buckets.
Right.
So my lowest was 19 and below,
Mm-hmm.
which would mean my next one was 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34, blah, blah, blah. And my highest temperature was 95 plus.
Okay.
Which is
it?
Well, this is pretty high.
This
This
guy?
is 90s. This is the highest.
Oh yeah.
Which showed up a decent amount.
It gets hot in Jersey.
This summer we got hot.
It was really hot. It was
I think
very
like
hot.
this. I mean, obviously they're only the outside.
Right.
Um,
And so you got full skeins of the DK.
full skeins of the DK.
Okay.
Now the background, I think I have left over, but I definitely had 3 of each color.
Okay.
Now, if you weren't going to be switching, you obviously wouldn't need as much because
Right.
I have, almost like 3/4 skeins of each of my colors left.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to do that, I don't know how to do the math on that, but
I
obviously,
don't either.
obviously if I was doing one color for the background, I
You
would
would
not
just
have
do-
needed, maybe I only need 10 skeins or whatever, not
Right.
12, but I switched it out and I had 3 skeins of each background color. And I, like I said, I definitely used all 2 and had to break into the third.
Yes.
Um,
So I feel like this is like a good example of kind of like a traditional.
Yes, and also we should say this was
Modern.
real time.
So you did a square a day.
Well, okay, yes. I mean, technically, each of these it starts. I don't even know
Where
where.
are we?
No,
Are
that's
we
the
here?
end. It's the start. Like, that's the end.
Your side.
I got the start. So I did mine actually too. Like you'll see a lot of if you look on the Instagram, the temperature blanket thing. Some people do them sort of diagonally across.
Yes, I've seen the corner to corner crochet
Yeah.
ones, and also occasionally like that kind of grandmother's dishcloth like garter
Yeah.
stripes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Mine reads like a calendar.
Yeah,
Like this is. Oh, and also because
left
there's-
to right, top to bottom.
Right. So you have, in the end, this particular layout gives you 368 hexagons.
Right.
So I started 2 at the top,
Mhm.
which are plain, and then there's 1 at the bottom, which is plain because we only had 365 days.
5 days, yes.
What
Right.
does that mean? Yeah, 5 and 3
Yes.
is 8. Okay.
Again, time
Thanks for
is a
making
weird
it feel better.
concept in
Well,
the pandemic.
Also, I can't do math either, so listen, I'm
I know
very
we're
good.
missing like Amanda, who could tell us.
I'm very good at 6th grade pre-algebra.
Yeah.
You put an X in the equation, I can figure it out.
Same here.
But actual, like, arithmetic?
No, I count on my fingers. I can do calculus, but I count on my
Totally.
fingers.
Okay, so anyway, so this is January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Which, God, if you look at this year for January 1st, this was a cold day. This year it was like all my bright pinks, which are...
It was freakishly warm.
Yeah, it was very warm. So, and then I just go across.
Right.
And, so I just went in straight rows. So anyway, to make it work, you can see here, it's an 18, 17, 18, 17. So in the end you do 11, 18 hexagon rows and 10, 17 hexagon rows.
Okay.
So you begin and end with an 18, and then you have all your, like, 7s interspersed in between.
It's a nice classic.
Yeah, so, and
layout.
then actually,
And then?
I figured out, which was actually way harder than you can imagine. Talk about math. I don't know. I did it like 4 times before I figured it out.
Half hexes are not easy.
Half hexy. So I'm going to fill in the half hexagons, and I'm going to use whatever color is the sort of straight edge.
So here you'll use the lighter gray color.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Even though you have a side that's the darker color, but no, I'm going to use the lighter. So anyway, that's how it's worked. Like here, this is a perfect example.
And that way you don't have a sawtooth edge. You have
and then
nice
I'm
straight.
Eventually, so then I'm going to keep this scalloped because it looks pretty. And then I'm just going to do like a very, very simple, maybe just one time around. Like
a unifying single crochet or double crochet or something like that.
Totally.
So this is a standard circle to hex.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's very straightforward in terms of like crocheting a granny square. Right? Like I feel like this is a good, easy...
Oh, it's so... First of all it is double crochet. So if you can double crochet, you can make this.
Totally.
And the only... Like the hardest part of it is, I guess, the magic loop at the front, which, you know...
I'm guessing by the end you got really good at it.
Oh, God, please. I could do these things in my sleep. And honestly, one of the reasons why I like this, and this is a really important thing, I think, that you really have to take into account. Like, I don't know if you all saw, there's like some TikTok out there for some big crochet woman who was like, you know, why bother planning your temperature blanket because 95% of the people don't finish it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll say this. I don't know if people reading this know me or have known me over the years. I'm one of those people who I'm going to finish it. There's just not, it's not even going to be, I mean, not that I don't not finish things, because there's tons of things in my life that I don't finish, tons of projects, but this is one thing that I was always going to finish it. There was just no way I wasn't. Yeah. But also, I made sure that, excuse me, when, like, I had already made, I think, 3 blankets using this pattern. And I knew that, it takes me 5 minutes to make a circle. Right. At this point. I knew that joining as you go was the only way to do it. And that also, that was not going to be a big deal. Because I'd already joined tons of blankets. I mean,
You've already done.
Right. And this is what I think is really important when you're planning a project like this, and not just temperature blankets, but any sort of big, long-term project, is you really have to prep. I know people hate to swatch and all that other stuff, but like, you know, I have an embroidery project I'm going to show you that I tried like 5 different ways to do it, and I hated every single one until I found the one that I really liked, and I knew I could do it. I knew that this was not going to be a hard thing to do for a year.
It makes it easier because you've already, like, you've done all of the... I mean, I'm one who enjoys prep, too, right? And, like, there's something about okay, I have this idea, and I'm going to pick the yarn, and I'm going to pick my palette, and I'm going to finesse and finagle, but you put the work in up front, and it's not necessarily a ton of work, but you put the work in up front, and then it becomes this easy, meditative. Yeah, I have 15 minutes.
This is my task for the day. Yeah, yes. This is what I have to do. I don't have to think about it.
Yes.
I have to look up the temperature, write it down, and then just do it.
And you've accomplished something.
Oh my God, I get to check the box. Right. Literally. I get to check it off. I did this one. And honestly, when it came down to this blanket, now this is kind of funny, because when I started and I did start doing, also I'm always a day behind.
Well, you kind of have to
because I'm waiting for that. I'm not going to like know what my weather is until like I'm into the next day, because God knows that what if it changes in the middle of the night and I've done my thing and then I look at the next day and it says something different. I would
What if the low goes down lower?
Exactly. Or like exactly. You can't. Yeah. Okay.
So you need to be like you're doing. So I'm always one day behind. Right. On January 2nd.
Right. So I'm always one day behind. But what I actually found out when I started doing this blanket was that this is kind of funny. Doing 1 circle a day wasn't enough.
It's hard.
It was like, oh, now what do I do? Like I'm in
the mood.
It wasn't enough. So in the end, what super worked for me was I worked on this blanket every 2 weeks, 15 days. Good idea. On day 16. I mean, and sometimes I wouldn't leave it all to the last minute. Maybe after the first week, I'd be like, oh, let me make some circles, and I'd save the circles.
I have some time.
Right. But normally it would take me maybe an hour to make 15 circles, not even. and then maybe another couple hours to attach them all. So by the time I got to like, you know, let's say 16th, 17th, 18th of the month, I had already done that first 2 weeks was done.
Yeah.
And then I could like kind of put it aside, do other stuff. I wasn't worrying about it every day until it came time for the, you know, the 31st or the 30th came.
Yeah.
And then I would do my next
and
batch.
You'd finish them
and it would be really satisfying because I'd have this chunk that I had to do.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
like,
it's not like, I mean, there's something to the, it grows one at a time, so it grows slowly, but then there's also something to the, it grows all of a sudden 2 rows at a time.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and
I have
also,
a thing.
I mean, and also, like, you know, it's not that I really do things for the grid or anything like that, but it was nice because I would take a picture for my own record too.
Yeah.
Every 15 circles, 15 or 16 depending upon the month, or I guess February was less. And I would take a picture of those 15 circles before I attached them, and then I would attach them, and then each like month I would post a picture of the blanket, and I would post the individual pictures of the circles.
I love that.
So you could see what it was before, and you could see, and
you can see your progress, and there's something satisfying about that. And I think it's also a question of, you have to know yourself, right? You have to know, are you the type of person who is going to be who really needs that, like, I'm going to do half an hour on a project a day, and I'm going to do a circle a day, a row a day, a thing a day, and I have to do that a thing a day? Or am I the person who can't stop at 1,
right,
and needs like 5?
So, yeah, absolutely.
Weekly.
Well, and
Saturday.
And you know, this is the thing too, like, I hate to get all like, I don't even know what to call it, psychological or spiritual or anything, but this kind of project is that. You really need to know yourself. You need to know what you like to do. You need to know what, I mean, I'm assuming that you really want to finish this project.
Yeah.
And you know, like, that you're motivated, and it's not just like, oh, everybody's doing it, let's cast on, and like, you know, because honestly, I really truly believe, and I wrote that article, and I tried for Modern Daily Knitting.
Thank you.
And
for article on Modern Daily Knitting.
And I really tried to make it, you know, like, I don't know if I had the space to really get into the fact that, like, no, I'm like losing my train of thought. Perimenopause sucks, everyone. I have no brain anymore. You know, this idea that you don't have to fail at this.
Yeah.
You know, like, but also you don't, and I talked about this on my grid too, you don't have to succeed at it either.
Yeah.
If you start making a temperature blanket and you're like, oh my God, why am I doing this? This is the worst project in the world. And like,
then it's not for you.
And then it's fine. That is totally fine. And if you make it through half the year and then life gets in your way, or life just happens, and because, you know, there's a lot of life happening right now, all the time on a daily basis. Our brains are just so fried.
Yes.
And, you know, for me, this is an antidote to that fried brain. But for some people, it might just give them more stress.
Yeah. If you feel like this is going to be yet another task that you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to do that, then don't do a temperature blanket, or do a smaller project.
Oh my God, you do not have to do some huge. Okay, so I measured this before I left my house, and I think it's by like 70 inches by 72 inches,
which is like kind of perfect for a bed.
Yeah,
like, and it's nice, and like, I love a heavy blanket.
Yes,
it's like got a good weight. This is a gorgeous, like, snuggle up blanket. DK weight makes a really good.
Yeah. Oh, I love
really
DK. Is my like desert island.
It's a good sweet spot.
Yeah,
it's a good sweet spot.
But like, what I want to say is that, so, not finishing one of these projects, not finishing any project in your life, okay? Take it from me, I'm just 52 years old, you know, living through a pandemic. You don't have to finish anything, okay?
It's fine.
You're not failing, you're just deciding that this isn't a project for you.
Right. And it's like, you need to not guilt yourself. There's enough guilt in this world.
Oh my God, yes. It's knitting, okay? Or crochet, whatever. It's crafts. It's not like life or death here.
Right.
But also, you know, like I said, this is a big deal, so you might as well set yourself up for success.
Yes. And prep 100%.
Oh my God. I mean, it can be a lot, but, you know, trying out different ways, like maybe you want to do a crochet blanket, but you absolutely hate circles, and you want to do granny squares. Okay, well, you know, do a couple granny squares so that you know what's your rhythm. How much time does it take you? Does it take you an hour to do one granny square? Which, I mean, you know, maybe, but
maybe.
So, like, that's a lot. Are you not going to be able to do that?
Right.
You know, what happens when you are a month behind? Will you be able to catch up because stuff got in the way? You know, like that kind of a thing. So, you know, this really worked out.
You got to think about who you are, how you're going to do, and then also, can you show? I mean, one of the things about prep for a temperature blanket. And you showed this on your Instagram, which is super handy. Your color cards.
Okay, so these are my, right now, I actually have a fourth, but it's not in a good enough stage. These are my 2022 temperature projects. This is my blanket. This is my embroidery project. And this is a test knit that I'm doing for Soraya, who, she made this heirloom temperature blanket that is one of the most extraordinary pieces of art that I've ever seen.
Who is this?
Soraya.
Oh yeah,
Hussein. She's in England, in London, and it was like mosaic crochet.
Oh my goodness.
And she changed it each month. Which this project that I'm doing, which I'll show you in a minute. It's knitted. It's going to be like a big climate wrap. It's a test knit, so you can't get in on it.
Yeah. But you'll see it soon.
It's for the whole year, so she's planning to release it in 2023.
Great.
And each month she changes the stitch pattern, and it's just like her maybe I'll send you the link. You can link it. Her it's I think she called, what did I say? It was the heritage.
Is
that what she called
blanket?
it? I think that's what she called it. It's just unbelievable. It's really extraordinary. It makes this look like child's play. But anyway, so basically what I did is I just took a piece of cardstock, I put punch holes along the edges, and I put each of my yarns, and I just put each temperature and the color.
Quick at a glance.
So I have, right, and then we'll link to this too. This is the Shannon Jean temperature project. They have a whole booklet when you buy their pattern, and each month has its own page. And you put the high, the low, the average, and then I list what my colors are. And then as soon as I check it when I'm done, and then actually I usually put the cross when I've attached it.
Oh, so you get to check it off twice?
Yes, I get to check it off twice. The
satisfaction of checking something off of a list is
I get to check it off twice.
It compares to nothing except for canceling plans.
Yes! Oh my god, yes.
So satisfying.
There's nothing better than cancel. Okay. So, that was really funny. And also really, really true.
It's so true.
So here, I've only gotten to the 15th. I haven't even bothered to fill in the rest.
Yeah, but
I'll get there, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why I when I go back to my Wonder Gun, the whole month is right there. So I just, I don't even have to, I love that.
handy.
That's why I went with Newark, because I don't think I could get that. It's under their historical data tab.
Oh.
And you put in the month and the year.
Okay. And then it shows you Newark.
And it shows you. So that's why I think I did Newark, because I couldn't get that month that I like.
It's a little tricky to find the spot. And I'm telling you, I opened this tab in January on, I think it was weather.com. I dug around and I found for my zip code. And then I did not close that tab because God forbid I close it, I won't be able to find it.
Make sure you have bookmark it.
Oh yeah, with bookmarks, but then you have to actually go back, or you can just leave all the tabs open.
No, I leave all the tabs open too, but I do have
a mirror image of my brain with all of my tabs open.
So I have all my little charts that stay with my project. For instance, for this blanket, I just had a basket.
Yeah,
and
it's everything in
it. And also I think I bought every time I come in, I buy another. Another crochet hook.
Oh yeah, because they get lost.
Okay, so yes, so that's this one. Should we? All right,
but let's see the other ones. So while you do that, you grab the other ones. I'm just going to show you. This is, for example, me stalling out on my temperature blanket. joining us.
Thank
you. Don't forget to go follow Cara at January 1 on Instagram, and like and subscribe here. Follow us on Ravelry, and let us know if you're planning to make a temperature blanket or a temperature project or embroidery or whatever, because we'd love to hear about it. And we will see you soon.
And come visit Yarnia.
Yes, come visit Yarnia. She can say that, I can't say that. I mean, I'll say it anyway.
Come visit Yarnia.
Bye, guys.
Bye.